Oh shoot,
John,
I'm in
you
the
didn't,
same
yeah,
building.
didn't change your background.
You
I'm
know why?
disappointed.
I slept there last night. I didn't need, I was so tired after that last discussion. I just slept right here and then I just woke up. Here I am. So I didn't change
Uh,
my.
you're such an
Hey,
idiot.
we mentioned that the last part, I got to bring this over here so I can read it right. But today's discussion is how can we enjoy others, or can we enjoy others' images without it affecting our vision? And the second part of that question, this is from a viewer, by the way, one of our many, many viewers,
Many,
many
many
viewers,
viewers.
thousands of viewers. And then, is it okay if it does? So number one, can we enjoy other people's work without it influencing our vision? And doesn't matter. I mean, so what if it does? Is that okay? So I think you have some pretty strong thoughts on this. So I'll let you go because I can see you frothing or chomping at the bit to give your thoughts. And we're
Well,
going to disagree on this one. So this will
let's
be
keep
fun.
in mind that we just had here recently posted a YouTube video that talked about how we're all different
Yes.
and how I'm trying to more and more learn that how I see things or how things work for me isn't the right way for everyone. So I'll just try to remember to always say things like, for me,
Yeah.
there's no possible way I can look at other people's work and not have it affect me.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, I want to imitate that shot or that look. But the one increasingly that affects me is I'll see someone else's work and then I'll say, oh crap, I wished I wouldn't have seen that because now I can't do that. Because if I come across something like that, I will feel like I'm imitating them. And for me, creating honest work means I don't take someone else's idea and run with it.
Yeah, like when you saw the picture, my background picture or the other version of it, I remember you like, damn, I wish I didn't see that. And that's the reason is you now can't walk into the church and even try to do something slightly
No,
different.
no,
No,
it's not honest work for me.
because
Now,
even a derivative image would be
yeah, no,
okay.
because in my heart, I know where the idea came from, and I want to try to be as original as possible. Now, some people could look at some of my, let's say they looked at my website, they looked at my dunes of nude images and say, well, I've seen people do those all the time. So why is that different? How is that creating honest work? Well, the difference is I had never seen anyone else do that. I came on my own. Turns out that many people have seen, like I saw, the
Hmm,
dunes, but it was an original idea for me.
yeah.
But when I submitted it to Lenswork, Brooke said, oh, I see those all the time.
Interesting.
But it was honest work
Yeah.
nonetheless.
And I love that whole concept of yours with regard to honest work because I do see that. Now, me, on the other hand, I really love looking, through my Instagram feed. Um, I I think I am able to separate that influence, or maybe put a different way, I'm not sure it's a bad thing to be influenced by somebody else. To maybe, so I might see images on Instagram that make me go, I never kind of thought about that approach to a flower. I never
Mhm.
thought about that approach to a landscape scene. Hey, I haven't gotten my drone out in a while. Gosh, that's a great drone shot. Doesn't mean I'm going to necessarily make that image, but I certainly understand where you're coming from, and I can understand because how weak you are that you 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 just can't get that image out of your head. So I
Well,
guess the answer to that second question that our viewer asks is no, it's not good to be influenced by others' work, is what you're going to say.
well, anyone, and you could point out that all of the images that I have seen in my past, I talk about when I was young, I just would
Yeah,
pour over those images and I was always drawn to those particular types of images that were dark and contrasty, the
right.
kinds I like,
Yep.
and could argue that influenced me. And of course, everything I have seen in my past influenced me. The
Right.
question is that the better way to create? Some say we are really just always working off the work of those who went before us. We see their work and then we go a little further and a little further. It's to me that's derivative. It's looking at the past and inching along a little bit past that. But I see that really as ruts.
Huh.
Imagine now, we all just heard about what happened out there in Burning Man. The
Yes.
rainstorm, they got stuck. My son didn't go this year. He would probably a great thing. But
Yeah.
he says that once it rains, you can't really move for 24 hours because as you start driving, you create these enormous ruts. People are sunk in mud up to their axles. They
Oh
get
my.
stuck. So
Oh my
everybody
God.
stops for 24 hours of dryness. Well, to me, that's what looking at other people's do. It creates these ruts, and we're just going along in their path. And
Huh.
I don't want to do that. Now, of course, a lot of my work has been influenced in the past by other people, but I want to try to see uniquely, see freshly, and discover new things, not be in the rut of someone else. That's just me.
Yeah.
And
And
some could argue I'm not very successful at it, but I'm trying to move past doing what others do.
yeah. And you're right. I was going to bring up the idea that you have been influenced by Adams and Weston and the day books and all those things. So you can't ever get rid of that. But what I think I hear you really saying is, and it's exercised, like my memory is taking you to the Alabama Hills, and you were like, why are the Alabama Hills in California? I thought they'd be in Alabama. And so we get there, and you really did show up in the Alabama Hills, having never seen a photograph from there ever, which
Right.
was really cool to watch you. I mean, it's exciting because it's such a cool place. But so even though you have all those influences of the past and when you were younger and all the books you looked at then, that's certainly going to color your vision because that's what your definition of vision is. It's all those things you put into that blender and you spit out a new set of glasses to look through. So you can't ignore the fact that you absolutely were influenced to even maybe be a photographer, specifically a black and white photographer with dark, moody images because of those images that you show in your Why Black and White lecture. But what I think I really ultimately hear you say is now at this point in your journey as an artist, you just want to create honest work. And so you choose to not view others because it'll be heavily influence potentially the next image that you make. Or yet again, more even newer to that is it'll give you an idea that you can no longer do because now
Yes,
it's
it's
already
not mine.
been done. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And now
yeah.
it's derivative.
And I know I talk to so many people who say, look, they're able to look at those images and not be influenced. Personally, I don't believe it,
Yeah.
but I can't judge them, and I don't know. I only know me.
Yeah.
But I just, I don't know. I want to be as original as possible, and this is the way I know how to
Yeah.
do that. Try to do that.
Yep. So I guess so our answer is I can do it. I think I'm not influenced, but I suspect you're right. I probably am. I mean, look, I think a lot of people would say that my work is definitely influenced by your work, and I would agree with that. I mean, I really love your work. I love Chuck Kimmerly and Mitch DeBrano, those three guys as far as black and white imagery, and now Sarah Marino's black and white imagery. And so I would say if I've been influenced heavily, it's by you more than any of those. And some might say that my work has kind of taken on that style, if you will. So that's probably not a good thing. Maybe I don't know. I'll have to think that through a little bit. Maybe I'll do all really bright whites and no darks at all.
Now, this argument that we are all influenced, there is nothing new under the sun, and we're all really just working off the work of those who came before us. I always like to, in my head, play this game. Stevie Wonder suddenly they come up with a new technique where they can regrow nerve cells, and they do this injection in his eye. Now, suddenly Stevie Wonder can see. He's never seen before, I believe. He decides to get into photography and he starts photographing. Is it possible for a creative like Stevie Wonder to photograph things in a way that are unique and uniquely him without ever having the influence of looking at other photographers' work? And I would have to believe yes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so to me, it's not, yes, we've done it in the past where we look at others' work and we build on it, but is it possible to create something new, something radically new, maybe, because we don't have a photographic background burned into our memory? I'd like to believe the answer is yes. And so I sometimes when I'm shooting a scene that's reminiscent of one I've seen by the great masters, it's tough because you want to recreate what you've seen in the past.
Sure.
And it's really hard to say, how can I see this uniquely?
Yeah, it
It's
really is.
really hard.
This reminds me of a great discussion, and let's see if we can pivot here just a little bit. Of one of the first times we're in the Trona Pinnacles, and we had a really good group. You had just done your Why Black and White, and there was some serious pushback. And so one of the questions was this: so what do you do? You've got a 5-year-old grandkid. What do? You put a camera in their hand and you give them no instruction, is essentially what you said, as I recall, paraphrasing quite liberally there, rather than sit them down and say, here's how it works, here's how you line it up, here's the rule of thirds. If you put things in those power third, none of that. I think your feeling was like Stevie Wonder, take that kid and then let them just be, let them create with no rules, no boundaries, no nothing in place.
Oh, I think so. And then you teach them the technical as it's needed, not we're first going to go through this 6-month course on how to use your camera, emphasizing technical stuff, and then try to get them to be creative. No, let them be creative. And then as a need arises to be better technically, there's the opportunity. They've got this image, it was out of focus, and they wish they had, whatever it is, and you teach them the technique as needed. I've got on the list here of topics, tools, not toys.
Right.
And I'd love to discuss that.
Yeah.
Our cameras are not these little fun things. They are a brush in the hands of a master painter. They should be. They're a brush.
Yeah, and furthermore, and this is going to apply hopefully to all the listeners too, to think about this. We'll keep on the kids here. You've got a grandchild or your own child. So put that camera in their hand and just let them be. But here's the next important step for us as budding artists, just like it is for that little kid. What do you do when the kid comes and says, look?
I would say, oh, you're never supposed to do that. You're supposed to do this. No.
Yeah, seriously. And so I am fortunate enough to have 2 grandkids in my house and the other 2 very close by. My language is always very purposeful. I have over here, I can't see it, but all these beautiful pictures that Charlotte makes and brings in. And when she does, I simply say, oh my gosh, another creative effort from you. Your creativity is off the hook. I can't wait to see what the next one's going to look like. It's not, this is great,
but
I'm trying not to give her that feedback of this is awesome, because what's she going to do? Go out and make the same darn picture again and give me 5 of the same thing? Because that's what feels good.
That's true too.
That's what feels good.
The danger of praise. Yes, it can work a bad.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of, is both of those things, and just saying, I can't wait to see what you do next. I wonder how many colors you'll use on the next one, or what shapes you'll.
I'm glad you reminded us of that. That's true.
But I think
that's seeking praise, and if you do one thing and you give that kid a lot of praise, you're going to keep getting the same thing.
Yeah, rather than continuing to try to get them to be creative and create and just exercise that creative muscle. So
now, I've never done this with my grandkids, but wouldn't it be fun to give them a disposable camera with 12 film shots and say, go take some pictures and see what they do?
Let them, and then be able to critique those when you. But the temptation to critique is really strong.
Oh yeah.
And when she comes in, I have to hold myself back from saying, that's awesome, I love it, which I do. And I'm so glad she's bringing it in, but it's more important to me to encourage that creativity than it is to pray. She knows I'm happy. She can hear it in the inflection of my voice, but the message she's going out with, I'm going to do something else different. And next time, hopefully.
Yeah, that's interesting. You want to praise her creativity. That's really the emphasis.
Yeah.
More important than the actual picture, the creativity. Great point.
Yeah. And so hopefully the takeaway, back to the original question, is can we enjoy other people's images and without it affecting our own vision? I think we both agree that it's really hard to sit here and look you and I in the face and say, yes, I can. I'm with you, Cole. I don't buy it. I think I can maybe do it easier than you can, but I think I'm lying if I say what I've seen others do has not influenced me. Now, whether
But
that's good,
it goes to the second half of the question. So maybe some people's answer would be, yes, it influences me, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
For me, it's not.
Right. That well put. And for me, it's okay. And as long, but I very, very much agree with your honest work. So that's the twist or the rub, if you will, for me, is I've got to always be saying, okay, I've just been influenced by Sarah's work. Now, how do I make sure that I continue to be honest and true to my vision,
Yeah.
even though, and that's where the challenge is going to
Yeah,
come
I look
in.
at Sarah's and our other
David?
friend, David,
David?
and
Jennifer?
Jennifer, and there are close-ups of the patterns. And my immediate reaction is, I need to go out there and shoot those too.
Yeah.
But that's neither honest nor original, and
Yeah.
it's not flattering for me to take a shot and then send it to Sarah and say, "Hey, look, Sarah, I copied what you did." It's not flattering.
Yeah, it
We
really, I
probably
mean,
we're probably I'm watching
well,
the
we're
camera
over.
down to one viewer, and I think that's you or me. So we better
We better
cut
wrap
this
this up.
short.
All right,
Yeah.
next. I'll change my
Yeah.
background this time because I'm not sleeping here again. It's musty.
Okay.